First contact and discovery. The deep hum of the Artemis's engines filled the bridge with a soothing white noise as Commander Elena Vasquez studied the star charts on the main display. Their exploratory mission to the outer rim of human-controlled space had been uneventful so far. 3 months of cataloging uninhabited planets, taking radiation readings, and mapping uncharted asteroid fields. "Commander, I'm picking up something strange," said Lieutenant Ravi Kapoor, breaking the peaceful silence. His fingers danced across the sensor array controls, eyes narrowed in concentration. "It's some kind of signal. Very faint, but definitely artificial." Vasquez moved to his station, leaning over his shoulder to examine the readings. Source: unknown. It's coming from Sector 47, near the Helios Nebula. No registered human outposts in that area. "Is it one of ours?" asked Dr. Maya Chen, the ship's xenobiologist, who had been silently observing from her station. "Negative," replied Kapoor, adjusting the signal strength. "The pattern doesn't match any known human transmission protocols, and the signal degradation suggests it's been broadcasting for—" "Wait, this can't be right." "What is it, Lieutenant?" Vasquez prompted. "If these readings are accurate, this signal has been transmitting continuously for over 700 years. The bridge fell silent. Humanity had only achieved interstellar travel 150 years ago. "Alien," whispered Chen, voicing what everyone was thinking. In all their years of exploration, humans had found plenty of microbial life, even some complex organisms on distant worlds, but never any evidence of advanced technological civilizations. The prospect of first contact had been relegated to science fiction. Until now. "Set a course for the signal's origin," Vasquez ordered after a moment of consideration. "All senior officers to the briefing room in 10 minutes. The Artemis dropped out of FTL near a small rocky planet orbiting a dying orange star. The world below appeared desolate, vast deserts and dried ocean beds visible even from orbit. Life signs?" Vasquez asked, studying the barren landscape. "Atmosphere is thin but breathable," reported Chief Science Officer Dr. Marcus Elliott. "Surface temperature within human tolerance. No active technology readings beyond the signal itself." "Still no response to our hails," added Communications Officer Leila Kwan. Vasquez made her decision. "Prepare the lander." "Dr. Chen, Lieutenant Kapoor, Security Chief Rodriguez, you're with me. Dr. Elliott, you have the con." The descent through the thin atmosphere was turbulent but manageable. As they approached the surface, the true scale of devastation became apparent. The landscape was dotted with the skeletal remains of what had once been massive structures. An alien city now reduced to ruins. "The architecture is unlike anything in our databases," Chen said, her voice filled with wonder as she recorded the scene. "These structures would have stood at least a kilometer high." The lander touched down on a flat plain near the signal source. The team disembarked in environmental suits, though sensors confirmed the atmosphere was safe. "The signal's coming from that structure," Kapoor said, pointing to a half-collapsed dome-like building that stood taller than the surrounding ruins. Rodriguez took point, pulse rifle at the ready as they approached the entrance, a massive archway designed for beings much taller than humans. Inside, the air was stale but breathable, and the team removed their helmets. "They're still powered here," Kapoor marveled, gesturing to faint blue lights embedded in the walls. "After 7 centuries." They followed the signal to a central chamber dominated by a console of unfamiliar design. Strange characters scrolled across its surface, pulsing with a soft blue light. "This isn't just a distress call," Chen said, studying the patterns. "It's a warning." Before anyone could respond, the floor beneath them shuddered, and a section of wall slid open to reveal a hidden corridor. "Should we proceed, Commander?" Rodriguez asked, weapon raised. Vasquez nodded. Carefully, the corridor led them deep underground, emergency lighting activating as they passed. Eventually, They emerged into a vast chamber filled with hundreds of cylindrical pods, most dark and empty. But one, at the far end, glowed with the same blue light as the console above. "I'm getting a life sign," Kapoor whispered, checking his scanner. "Weak, but definitely there." The team approached the active pod cautiously. Through its frosted surface, they could make out a tall, slender figure. Its skin had a metallic sheen, and its proportions were unmistakably non-human. Elongated limbs, an oversized head, and what appeared to be 4 arms folded across its chest. "It's in stasis," Chen said, examining the pod's control panel. "This might be the last survivor of whatever happened here." "Can you wake it?" Vasquez asked. Chen studied the controls. "I think so. The interface is surprisingly intuitive." "Do it," Vasquez decided. "Rodriguez, stay alert." Chen pressed a sequence of symbols. The pod hummed, and the blue light intensified. Slowly, the cover retracted, releasing a cloud of cold vapor. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, the alien's eyes opened, 4 iridescent orbs that seemed to shift between green and gold. The alien sat up with deliberate grace, its movements fluid despite centuries of stasis. It regarded each of them in turn before speaking in a voice like wind through crystal chimes. To everyone's shock, their universal translators beeped and displayed text. "You are not the Guardians," the alien said. "Who are you?" Vasquez stepped forward. "I am Commander Elena Vasquez of the Earth exploratory vessel Artemis. We received your signal." The alien blinked its 4 eyes in sequence. "Earth, this designation is unknown to me." It paused. "How long have I slept?" "We believe your signal has been broadcasting for approximately 700 Earth years," Chen explained gently. The alien's shoulders slumped. "Then it is as I feared. The Guardians never came. My people are lost." "Who are you?" Vasquez asked. "What happened here?" "I am Zelfar, last sentinel of the Luminary Confederation." The alien rose from the pod, standing nearly 8 feet tall. "My world was destroyed by the Void Eaters, beings that exist beyond normal space. They feed on stars and leave only darkness in their wake." Zelfar moved to a wall panel and placed one of its 4 hands upon it. A holographic display materialized, showing images of horrifying creatures that seemed to shift between solid form and pure darkness. "The Void Eaters consumed our sun slowly, draining its energy until it collapsed. We fought them for generations, but they were too numerous. When defeat became inevitable, I was chosen to remain behind in stasis while the last of my people fled to distant outposts." "Your people?" Chen asked carefully. "There are more survivors." "Perhaps. Our colony ships were sent in different directions with no planned rendezvous. It was a desperate measure." "The signal you sent," Kapoor interjected. "What exactly was its purpose?" Zelfar turned its luminous gaze to him. "It was not merely a distress call. It contains the activation codes for the Luminary Defense Grid, a network of automated warships and weapon platforms hidden throughout this sector of space." The human team exchanged worried glances. "By responding to the signal," Zelfar continued, "you have initiated the awakening sequence. The dormant fleet is beginning to activate." "We didn't know," Vasquez said, a chill running down her spine. "We were just trying to help." "Your intentions were noble," Zelfar acknowledged. "But now you must understand the gravity of what has happened. The most powerful armada ever built by the Luminary is awakening. And the Void Eaters will sense it. They always do." Rodriguez's scanner suddenly beeped. "Commander, something's happening at the signal console upstairs. Power levels are spiking." Vasquez looked at Zelfar. "Can you stop the awakening?" "No," the alien replied simply. "But I can direct it. If you truly wish to help, take me to your ship. We have little time." The return journey to the Artemis was tense. Once aboard, the crew couldn't hide their amazement at the sight of Zelfar, the first confirmed intelligent alien any human had ever encountered. In the ship's command center, Zelfar placed one of its 4 hands on the main console. Somehow, the ship's systems responded to its touch, and the screen filled with a complex star map. "How did you do that?" Elliot asked, eyes wide. "Your technology follows similar principles to ours, though much simpler," Zelfar explained. "The SOS signal contains the locations of every luminary outpost and weapons cache across this sector of the galaxy." Vask studied the map. "There are dozens of them. The nearest active outpost is here," Zelfar said, highlighting a point not far from their current position. "We should go there first. It will have the command systems I need to coordinate the fleet." "Before we go anywhere," Vask said firmly, "I need to understand what we're dealing with. Tell us more about these Void Eaters." Zelfar's eyes dimmed slightly. "They emerged from the dark space between galaxies a millennium ago. They consume energy in all forms, from stars, from planets, from living beings. They attacked without warning or mercy." The alien brought up new images on the screen. Entire star systems going dark, planets breaking apart. "My people fought them for generations. Many worlds were lost. Eventually, we created the defense grid as a last resort, a way to ensure that even if our civilization fell, we could still strike back should allies ever come to our aid. And now we've activated it," Quan said quietly. "Yes, but there is something else you should know." Zelfar's voice took on a somber tone. "The defense grid was designed to be awakened by the Guardians, an allied race with whom we shared our technology. If the grid has activated for you, humans—" The alien paused, studying them with new intensity. "What?" Vasquez prompted. "It means your species shares certain genetic markers with the Guardians. This is not coincidence. I believe your people and mine have crossed paths before, long before you reached the stars." The implications hung heavy in the air. "Set course for the outpost," Vasquez ordered after a moment. "We need to know what we're dealing with." As the Artemis prepared to jump, Zelfar moved to the viewport, looking out at the stars. "There is one more thing you should know," the alien said quietly. "The Void Eaters do not consume indiscriminately. They are drawn to specific energy signatures that your Earth would be broadcasting across space now that you've developed FTL technology." Vasquez felt her blood run cold. "Are you saying Earth is in danger?" "I am saying," Zelfar replied, "that if the Void Eaters still exist, they have likely already sensed your world. The defense grid has not merely been awakened to fight an ancient enemy. It may be all that stands between your species and extinction." The Artemis jumped into FTL, leaving behind the dead world and carrying with it the last sentinel of a fallen civilization, and possibly humanity's only hope for survival. Rising strength and final stand. The Artemis dropped out of FTL, near what appeared to be an unremarkable asteroid field. Nothing about the location suggested importance, yet Zelfar stood tensely at the view screen, all 4 arms clasped together in anticipation. "This is it?" Commander Vasquez asked, scanning the empty space before them. "Appearances are deceiving, Commander," Zelfar replied. "The Luminary learned long ago to hide their most valuable assets in plain sight." The alien approached the ship's communication array and connected a small device retrieved from its stasis chamber. The console lit up with unfamiliar symbols. "I am transmitting the access codes," Zelfar explained. "Watch." For several moments, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the largest asteroid in the field began to change. Its surface rippled and faded, revealing the outline of an enormous structure beneath the camouflage. "Optical cloaking technology," Dr. Chen whispered in amazement. "Far beyond anything we've developed." As the disguise disappeared completely, a massive space station stood revealed. Its design was elegant yet alien, with sweeping curved sections that spiraled outward from a central hub. Lights activated across its surface, systems coming online after centuries of dormancy. "The Luminary Nexus," Zelfar said with unmistakable pride. "One of 12 command centers we established throughout this sector of the galaxy." Lieutenant Kapoor's console suddenly beeped urgently. Commander, I'm detecting energy signatures activating across multiple sectors. Dozens of them. Hundreds. The awakening has begun, Zelfar confirmed. When we accessed this station, it sent activation signals to all dormant luminary vessels within range. They are emerging from temporal stasis. The main screen switched to a sector map, countless points of light appearing, each representing a massive warship or weapons platform, activating after centuries of sleep. How many ships are we talking about? Rodriguez asked, unease evident in his voice. The full luminary defense grid included over 5,000 vessels, Zelfar replied. But that is merely the beginning. The Artemis shuddered as a docking beam from the station gently pulled them toward an entry port. Once aboard, the human crew stood in awe. Despite centuries of abandonment, the station was pristine, its systems functioning perfectly. The central command room was a vast chamber with a holographic display of the entire sector floating in its center. Zelfar moved to the main console and placed all four hands on its surface. The station responded immediately, the hologram zooming in to show their current sector. There's more, the alien said grimly. The Void Eaters have already begun their approach to your solar system. The hologram shifted, showing a dark mass moving through space toward a familiar arrangement of planets. How long do we have? Vasquez asked, her voice steady despite the fear gripping her heart. At their current velocity, less than 2 Earth months. We need to warn Earth, Vasquez decided. Prepare the defense. Zelfar turned its luminous eyes to her. Commander, you do not understand. Your world's defenses would be insignificant against this threat. Your entire military might would be like insects against a storm. Then what do you suggest? Vasquez challenged. We can't just abandon Earth. Not abandon, Zelfar corrected. Arm. The luminary fleet is yours to command now. I can instruct your people how to use it, how to integrate our technology with yours. Vasquez considered this, then nodded decisively. Lieutenant Kapoor, establish a secure channel to Earth Command. We're bringing our new ally home. The return to Earth was met with a mixture of awe, fear, and skepticism. The sight of the Artemis escorted by 3 massive luminary warships, each nearly the size of a small moon, was enough to send the planet's military into high alert. But the evidence Zelfar provided was irrefutable. The approaching Void Eaters were real, and Earth had less than 6 weeks to prepare. In an unprecedented act of global cooperation, the nations of Earth united under a single command structure. Military facilities worldwide were converted to production centers for the integration of luminary technology with human weapon systems. Admiral Hiroshi Tanaka, the newly appointed Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense Forces, stood in the war room beneath Mount Cheyenne, watching as Zelfar instructed a team of engineers on the principles of quantum phase shifting, the technology that would allow Earth's weapons to affect the quasi-corporeal Void Eaters. Even with this technology, Tanaka observed, we're still outmatched. By conventional measures, yes, Zelfar agreed. But your species possesses something the luminary lacked: adaptability. Your capacity to innovate under pressure is remarkable. This proved true over the following weeks. Human scientists, working alongside Zelfar, developed hybrid technologies that the luminary had never conceived. They created swarm drones that could infiltrate Void Eater vessels, retrofitted nuclear missiles with phase-shifting capabilities, and repurposed Earth's satellite network into an early warning system. Meanwhile, Commander Vasquez led missions to activate more of the luminary defense grid. Ship by ship, weapon by weapon, humanity's arsenal grew. But would it be enough? They're here, Kapoor announced, his voice echoing through the command center of the renamed Earth Defense Station Unity, formerly the International Space Station, now enhanced with luminary technology. On the main display, a dark mass emerged from the void beyond Neptune's orbit. It wasn't a fleet in the conventional sense, more like a swarm of shadowy, ever-shifting forms that seemed to absorb the very light around them. All defense platforms, report status. Vasquez ordered, her gaze fixed on the approaching darkness. Lunar Base Artemis, weapons hot. Mars Outpost Phobos, ready to engage. Jupiter Station, all systems nominal. One by one, humanity's hastily constructed defenses reported in. Mixed among them were the ancient luminary vessels, their powerful engines humming with energy that had laid dormant for centuries. Zelfar stood beside Vasquez, its 4 eyes fixed on the tactical display. They are more numerous than I feared. This is not a scouting party. It is a full invasion force. Then we'll just have to be more stubborn than they expected, Vasquez replied. All vessels, initiate Operation Lighthouse. Throughout the solar system, thousands of automated beacons activated simultaneously, each broadcasting energy signatures designed to confuse and scatter the Void Eater's collective consciousness. The dark mass paused, then began to separate into smaller groups. They're taking the bait, Rodriguez reported from his tactical station. Dividing their forces. Launch Phase 1, Vasquez ordered. From concealed positions throughout the asteroid belt, hundreds of modified mining vessels surged forward. Each was piloted remotely and loaded with experimental weapons designed by Earth's scientists based on luminary principles. They slammed into the fragmented Void Eater formations, detonating in carefully calculated sequences. The vacuum of space lit up with impossible colors as dimensional energies collided. Nearly a third of the Void Eater force dissipated into nothingness. It's working, Kapoor exclaimed. But their celebration was premature. The remaining Void Eaters seemed to learn from the attack, adapting their formation to absorb the energy of subsequent explosions. They accelerated toward Earth, their shape coalescing into a massive, arrow-like formation. They're concentrating their force, Zelfar observed, preparing for a direct assault on your homeworld. Initiate Phase 2, Vasquez commanded, her voice calm despite the escalating threat. The main luminary fleet moved into position, forming a defensive sphere around Earth. Each ancient warship activated its primary weapon systems, massive arrays that channeled energy from artificial quantum singularities. Beams of concentrated energy lanced out, cutting through the approaching Void Eaters. For a moment, it seemed the tide was turning. Dozens of the alien entities dissolved under the barrage. But then, something unexpected happened. The Void Eaters began to merge, individual units combining into larger, more resilient forms. They're adapting faster than predicted, Zelfar said, a note of alarm in its usually calm voice. This behavior was not observed during our war. The merged Void Eaters struck back, tendrils of dark energy wrapping around several luminary vessels and crushing them like paper. Alarms blared throughout the command center as reports of breaches in the defensive line flooded in. We're losing containment, Rodriguez reported grimly. At this rate, they'll reach Earth in minutes. Vasquez turned to Zelfar. Time for our contingency. The alien nodded solemnly. It may be our only option now. Vasquez opened a channel to all Earth forces. This is Commander Vasquez. Initiate Project Supernova. Authorization code, Phoenix Rising. Throughout the solar system, specially designed fusion bombs, enhanced with luminary phase-shifting technology, were launched toward a single point in space, directly in the path of the approaching Void Eaters. Each bomb was programmed to detonate in perfect sequence, creating a chain reaction of dimensional fractures. All personnel, brace for gravitational distortion, Vasquez warned. This is going to get rough. The detonation, when it came, was unlike anything humans had ever witnessed. It wasn't merely an explosion. It was a tear in the fabric of reality itself. A miniature black hole formed momentarily at the center of the blast, its gravitational pull catching the Void Eaters in an inescapable grip. The command center's systems flickered as gravitational waves washed over the station. For several agonizing minutes, all sensors were blind. When the readings finally stabilized, the main screen showed nothing but empty space where the Void Eaters had been. Did it work? Chen asked, breaking the tense silence. Kapoor's fingers danced across his console. Scanning. I'm not detecting any trace of the Void Eaters. Wait. He paused, adjusting the settings. There's something else out there. Multiple contacts, approaching fast. New vessels appeared on the screen, designs unlike either human or luminary ships. They moved with impossible grace, their hulls shimmering with iridescent energy. The Guardians, Zelfar whispered, its voice filled with wonder. They came after all. The largest of the new vessels transmitted a message, not in words, but in a series of mathematical equations that the station's computers automatically translated. They're saying they detected the dimensional disturbance, Kapoor reported. They've been monitoring the Void Eaters for centuries, containing their spread to isolated pockets of the galaxy. Why didn't they come when your people called for help? Vasquez asked Zelfar. The message says their civilization was fighting a different threat in another sector. Kapoor continued translating. They couldn't reach the Lumnari in time, but they've been searching for survivors ever since. Zelfar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a gesture of deep emotion. After all this time, they're requesting permission to enter Earth orbit, Kapoor added. They want to meet with our leaders, and with Zelfar. Vasquez turned to the alien who had become humanity's most important ally. What do you think? Can we trust them? The Guardians were always honorable, Zelfar replied, and they would not have come if they meant harm. Tell them permission granted, Vasquez decided. Then, with a smile, she added, and welcome to Earth. 1 year later, Commander Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Galactic Embassy in Geneva, watching as ships from a dozen different alien civilizations moved in carefully coordinated patterns above Earth's atmosphere. Beside her stood Zelfar, now the official ambassador of the reborn Lumnari people, survivors from distant colonies gradually returning to reunite with their last sentinel. The Guardians say that what you did, creating an artificial dimensional rift, has never been attempted before, Zelfar remarked. It should have been impossible with your level of technology. That's humanity for you, Vasquez replied with a smile. We specialize in the impossible. Indeed. That is why the Galactic Council is so interested in your species. In one act, humans accomplished what ancient civilizations could not. You devised a way to permanently banish the Void Eaters from this dimension. The doors behind them slid open, and Admiral Tanaka entered, accompanied by representatives from the Guardians and 3 other alien species. Ambassador Zelfar, Commander Vasquez, Tanaka greeted them. The Council is ready to formally induct Earth into the Galactic Alliance. As they walked toward the Council chambers, Zelfar spoke quietly to Vasquez. When I sent that SOS 7 centuries ago, I never imagined it would be answered by a species that didn't even exist as a spacefaring civilization then. Sometimes the universe has a strange sense of timing, Vasquez replied. Or perhaps not strange at all, the alien countered thoughtfully. The Guardians have a saying, the right key finds the right lock across the vastness of time. What does that mean? Vasquez asked. It means, Commander, that perhaps the SOS was always meant for humanity. Perhaps the defense grid was preserved through the centuries specifically for your people to find when you were ready. Vasquez considered this as they entered the Grand Council chamber, where representatives from 27 different species waited to welcome Earth into a community of civilizations that spanned the galaxy. Ready or not, she said with a smile, here we come. And as the formal induction ceremony began, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, witnessing the birth of a new era for humanity, no longer alone in the universe, and already proving to be one of its most formidable defenders.